You know, one thing you can say about the business that I'm in, it's rarely boring. I run into different situations every day. There's a fun one. I've got this pistache, Chinese pistache, Pistachia chinensis, and it's split all the way down to here. You know, with this drought and the lack of water and the water conservation measures, I'm having a lot of splitting trees occur. I'm getting called out almost every day for splitting branches. In some cases, whole trees will split. And I'm finding that the deodar cedars are one of the biggest culprits for having limbs split, and a number of oak trees, especially the live oak. Almost always the live oaks that split are directly associated with old wounds as they decay. So a big black acacia today that was all split. But another tree that I talk about quite a bit is the Chinese pistache, Pistachia chinensis. It's an interesting tree. You get both the male and female trees, and the female trees develop lots of these little berries. They're actually the nuts, the seeds that they don't turn into actual edible pistachios, but the birds love them. Unfortunately, a female tree is really messy, and it's really heavy. Those seeds out on the very ends can cause branches to split off. And because this is a cultivar that is not as strong as it should be, especially in drought conditions when the branches are really brittle and dry, we're having a lot of trees that are breaking big limbs, in some cases splitting apart. So I did a little bit of research, and I read up on the internet about the Chinese pistache, Pistachia chinensis. And I read that in China, they're actually harvesting these berries, and it's a high oil content in the berries, and they're using them for biofuel. The biofuel is really interesting, but they're also trying really hard to figure out how to differentiate between a male and a female. There is one tree that they are cloning. They're cloning a male tree that they're selling. I think it's something like a Keith Davy, but if you have a cloned tree that you know comes from a male, then you won't have the seeds. So I'm going to show you a tree that we are dealing with right now. Got a Chinese pistache that's very much one-sided, and I had to get some of the weight off on this side, and I'll show you why. 2 years ago, this tree split, and this split right here was open about 6 or 8 inches. So I used a come along and some ropes, which are still up there holding it, and I pulled it back together quite tight at the top, but I wasn't able to get it to close all the way up. So I put a big lag screw in over here, and I've been watching it. I've been coming by every 6 months or so, and I can't use the word healing, but it's absorbing this wound and it's closing up. So I can see a lot of active cambium tissue in there, and I think in time that's going to hopefully adhere again. But until that time comes, I don't want to over stress that weakness. So I came out again and took off some more weight on this side. It's still a nice looking tree, but it's imbalanced, and unfortunately it's always going to have to be somewhat contained now that weakness is a permanent problem with this tree now. You know, one of the big issues with these trees is a female tree develops all these seed pods, and they get very, very heavy. And we have a lot of pistache trees fail. It's starting to turn colors, and it's a little bit early. Okay, now I know what a lot of you are going to say. You're going to say, why'd you use a lag screw instead of a through bolt? Honestly, at the time, I really didn't believe that that side of the tree was going to be salvageable. I thought it was going to dry out. I thought, you know, let me try it. So that's why I left everything in the top of the tree, holding it tight. I put that lag screw in there with the idea that if it survives, if it looks like it's going to heal, I don't know, I hate to use that word because trees don't really heal. They compartmentalize and they grow around a wound. But if it was going to survive, then I'd come back later and keep that top tied together, pull that screw out, and then run it through, and then put more of a permanent through bolt on it, which I'll probably do. And I told the client that. So I've been watching it for 2 years. I'm going to keep going back to it and keep checking on it. But honestly, in all, you know, I think that the tree looks pretty damn good. Time will tell, though. Time will tell. But I do see a lot of these happening. And, you know, when people see a tree that does split like that, it's not always the end of the world. So sometimes you have to use some creative thinking. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you like my channel, please subscribe and hit that like button up there and give me a thumbs up. You know the routine. Come on, help me out.